Okay, guys, we're going to just jump in right away. So I'm going to send this off to Devin right now. So, yes, we are in Devin. We are in Cognition's new AI software engineer. And this is probably going to be a really long video, but it's going to be well worth your time. I'm going to try and break down a lot of different things, a lot of different thoughts that I have about it. And I started recording this use case and I stopped because I actually want to record it live and see if it can do this while you guys can see me react to it. So basically what I'm doing is I'm in the chat here and I'm asking Devin to set up this project. And what I did was I gave it a GitHub URL, which links to my chatbot UI project. And I basically want to see, can it set it up? Like this is the README for this project. It's a fairly complex setup, which is something I'd expect a software engineer to be able to do pretty flawlessly. And I want to see if Devin can do it. Okay. So let me jump into what's happening here and then we'll step back while it runs and I'll add a little color on this. But basically you can see over here is our chat and then over here is Devin's workspace. Okay. And so if we go into quad view here, Devin has four things: has access to our chat, has access to a shell so it can run a CLI. It has an IDE, which will be right here once that begins, if it needs that step. And it has access to a browser here. You can see following is on. So you can see right here, we're in the shell right now. And this just follows it live, okay? We can actually see like a history of what it's done right here, which is pretty cool. Again, this indicator shows it's live. Just to draw your attention to a few other things here, this pulsing blue dot with this gray text is basically indicating what Devin is up to right now. Okay, so Devin's just kind of running, it's doing its thing. And, you know, we're just sitting here waiting for it to complete tasks, okay? And every once in a while, Devin will actually, this will turn orange and it will need information back from you. I can even interject here and not interrupt Devin. All I can say, you're doing great. Keep it up, smiley face. Okay, and this isn't going to interrupt Devin. Devin's just going to keep doing his thing. Pretty crazy. Okay, so let's look at a few things. So you can see over here, Devin is in its planner. So just to provide some context here, again, Devin is Cognition. They just had a huge announcement yesterday. This is sort of their initial agent project, which is designed to be an AI software engineer, okay? And in the AI world, if you are unfamiliar, we refer to this type of project as, or this type of system as an agent. And an agent is basically an AI that's sort of running in the background, asynchronously, just doing its thing with basically the objective of trying to accomplish a specific task on your behalf, right? So it is an agent trying to perform actions on your behalf in the background. Okay, and Devin, in this context, is obviously trying to do that with code, right? With software. So part of sort of agentic loops, you know, as people have been really playing around with this over the last year or so since GPT-4 came out, but one of the key steps is sort of a planning step. So you can see that Devin has a planning step here and it keeps referring back to it probably somewhere in its prompt system, you know, whatever magic that Cognition has this thing doing on the back end. It's basically saying, okay, here are the tasks based, or here are all the steps I need to accomplish based on the task I was given, right? And it just came up with that list by itself. So step one was cloning the repository from the GitHub link we gave it. Okay, so if you see here, it ran git clone with the URL. So technical people are probably following this just fine. If you're not technical, what this basically does is it copies all of the code from this project into sort of the remote computer that's going on over here. Okay, and you can see it cloned that, it finished, and then it marked it as done in the planner. Okay, then you can see this next step, which it was doing while I was just talking, was identify the package manager and install the dependencies. Okay, so what it actually did was it ran npm install here, and this just installed all of the, again, I'm trying to dumb this down a little bit for non-technical people just so you guys can follow without any issues. Basically, that's just installing a bunch of like prepackaged software that helps me, or that we use within our project here, and that's all defined in this package.json file. So install all of these software libraries. Okay, and now it's just doing its thing. So you can see we got a little message from Devin, said I've cloned the repo, I'm reading the README. So a README is basically just a file, usually of instructions with how to run the code that you're looking at. So it's basically just constructing a plan based on reading the README. And sure enough, like these are all the steps I would expect a regular software engineer to follow, right? Clone the repo, read the instructions, okay, install the packages, and then in this particular project, we have to set up a Supabase CLI, so that's basically the back end that we're running. For context with Chatbot UI, basically we want it to basically get to this step where we can say, this is the app actually running locally on my computer. There's some test data here, and we want it. I might even see if it can log in. Well, I'm not sure how well it's going to be able to do that, and just get to the app, right? And so it's basically setting, this is Cognition's Ashley Vance, absolutely incredible writer. This was sort of one of their releases on Bloomberg. Go read it. I am trying to represent their ideas to the best of my abilities here. I really appreciate them giving me access here so that I can get this to you guys. So Cognition employees, if I say anything incorrect here, please go below and correct me. But we're new to this. We're learning. We're seeing what's going on. Okay, so you can see Devin's now trying to install Supabase, which is pretty impressive. This is a fairly complex technical step. So basically, using the command line here, Devin's now downloading more or less our database that we use for the app. So we're just kind of waiting on the download here, right? Like it's interesting, like with a system like this, because on one end there are sort of speed issues due to just the agentic loop running, right? It's got to go run the model, get the response back, run another step, and there's like a certain amount of latency there. Whereas this is just sheer technical waiting for a bunch of downloads. It's basically pulling a Docker image for Supabase onto this Linux system here out this remote computer somewhere out there. But so we're just waiting on that step, and then it may need more information from us. It may not. We will see what Devin needs. But I just want to take a step back for a second while this runs. Devin, and the reason I'm recording this and the reason I'm so excited about this is because this really feels like the ChatGPT moment for agent products. So ChatGPT obviously was kind of the huge moment for making AI go mainstream, making sort of everyday people realize like, oh, we've actually got something here. And I think Devin is the first product that I've seen do it for agents, right? This UI is really clean. The system seems to work from what I've tried so far. It's immediately useful, right? Like coding is a huge use case, and I think this is kind of us collectively putting one foot into an agentic world, an agentic internet. So I will be it's kind of, if you're familiar with sort of the concept of the 4-minute mile, was once one person broke the 4-minute mile, suddenly a bunch of other people do. And it's sort of like, once something's possible, a bunch of other people are able to achieve that because they don't have sort of that mental barrier. And I do wonder if a lot of developers will have that same breakthrough moment, and suddenly we'll see an explosion of really useful agentic products like Devin. I think that's probably pretty likely. I can't remember if I mentioned this already, but it's not clear to me if Devin's using GPT-4 or if they're using like a GPT 4.5 preview that perhaps they have early access to. I have absolutely no idea. I apologize if I'm repeating myself there, but it'll be interesting to see exactly how they're doing this, because they've sort of said, and I'm trying to parse information live like everyone else, but I can't tell if they have any part of their own model running in the background as part of this process, or if it's just a pure prompt loop type deal. With obviously they have a ton of technical complexity. Oh, okay. Pause that thought. Let's go quad view. So I mentioned Devin has access to a browser. So it looks like it ran into some sort of issue with Supabase, or it maybe needed additional information. So it actually browsed the internet, went to the GitHub page for Supabase's CLI. I'm assuming it's getting whatever information it needs so that it can run the software, which it, if we pop over to the CLI here, it appears it's running just fine. You can see it's now running a step here. I wonder if we go to the planner. Yeah, so it's configuring the environment variables. So basically it needs to get a couple of these values, put that into a file so that the backend can run correctly. So let's actually click following so we can follow this live. So you can see if we go to quad view again, we're now in the editor. So the .env.local file, this is in its sort of virtual IDE, which is just where it writes its code. You can see it pulled the values from the CLI and entered those into a real file so that it could actually run the project. And you'll notice I still have not had to interject at all, which is really crazy. The only message I sent was kind of a fun encouragement message, which obviously doesn't do anything. We're just being nice to our model. We appreciate Devin's hard work. Be nice to your models, everyone. They may turn out to be people too. Okay, we'll rein it back to reality here. But there'll be a lot of people who are kind of skeptical about this, but I want to remind people about this, and I've been on my soapbox about this for a year, actually a lot more than a year, but ever since kind of the mainstream attention's been on this, it's been about a year. This is the worst this is ever going to be. As we get better models, as we get better compute, it's going to run inference faster. The reasoning capabilities are going to get better. Every single thing it can do is going to just continue to get better. This is the worst it's ever going to be. If you're not impressed, I feel like these people are just being obtuse just to be obtuse. I just don't understand how anybody with some semblance of logic and forward thinking, even if you're not completely comprehending the exponential nature of it, technology improves, and this is not an isolated case. So okay, I'm going to end my rant here because we're actually on something. So you can see it's running on localhost on its remote machine, wherever the app is actually running, which is super impressive. So this is basically the point I wanted to get to and show you. Given a GitHub link, was able to set up the local development for this project 100% autonomously. I did not have to do anything. I could have gone and ate a snack and gone on a walk and done whatever. I could have done my laundry, come back, and it would have just been done. Okay. And this is the setup step. Non-technical people all the time are in the GitHub issues going, I'm stuck and somebody help me. And now all these people are just going to be able to give that task to something like a Devin and have it set it up, right? And this is obviously going to proliferate to other tasks. I'm sure I'll record a bunch more videos for things like writing PRs and code diffs and things like that. But I thought this was a pretty good setup. Okay, so this is interesting. I'm obviously not instructing it to do anything else here, and it actually clicked the start button and it basically took it to the login screen. So this is actually incorrect. I might have to tell it what the right credentials are to get into the app. So let's actually try it. It's kind of accomplished the task that I wanted it to do, but I want to just see if we can prod it just a little bit more. Okay, so it got invalid login credentials. Hold on. test@test.com and password will get you in. Okay, so I want to see if it can update these inputs here and then click login and then actually get us to the app screen, which is what this would be. It actually would probably show the setup screen because there's a setup screen the first time you open it. So let's just see if it could do that. So this is almost interesting. I'm actually having it basically interact with my UI, which really is not what it's supposed to be made for, but Hey, let's just test it. And sure enough, it's looking like it got those right. So I would now expect it to click login. I think I gave it the right instructions. Test.com and password should be good. Again, it's not totally obvious to me whether or not you can see we're following it live. Let's see if in the shell. Let me just check. I actually might be giving it wrong information. I actually just pushed a code change to our seed file. It should be test@test.com. Password is, it's hard because the password's obviously bleeped out, so I can't see. Make sure password is just password. I wonder if it like put quote. How many characters is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, there should be 8 characters. Again, I'm like pushing it into like autonomous UI usage, which is very much not really what Devin's intended to be used for. We're just kind of prodding and poking here. Just getting a sense of the system. I think one of the interesting things about agentic systems and AI products in general are that a lot of times your users actually end up using it in ways you didn't intend, and it can actually do a lot more than you intended, which is safetyists will love that. Okay, so it did whatever step was happening there. It's now corrected itself. It logged in based on the info we gave it. And oh wow, okay, this is actually insane. It's putting Devin test in as the chat display name. Oh, okay, I did not expect. I thought I was gonna have to say click through the setup steps really quickly. That's crazy. Okay, so there are like 3 setup steps for the first time you open it. Just set like some initial info. Oh, you know what I'm gonna try? Wait, guys, this actually could be insane. I honestly didn't expect it to get this far. Hold up, I'm off screen right now. I'm getting an OpenAI key. Watch this. I actually think this is gonna work. Wait, I actually need to create a new OpenAI key. Wait, one sec. OpenAI. Oh no! Okay, it's trying to chat. So this is actually gonna fail because it doesn't have an OpenAI key. But we actually want to see if it can do this. To the .uv.local file and use this value for OpenAI. Okay, I'm gonna delete this key the second I stop recording, so you're not getting any free usage out of that key. But I want to see if we can do this. Okay, we're really pushing this, guys. This is not really what Devin was intended to be used for. It's intended to do code, not like test your product. But hey, it's working. So let's see where we can go with this. We're having fun. You guys are having fun, right? Been here for 18 minutes. What's a few more minutes? What's a few more? Okay, so let's see. It's gonna update the. Let's click following. We want to follow this. So it did update the planning step correctly. So like, let's see. So again, we'd expect it to be able to go into the editor and enter that value right here. And then we'll tell it to like refresh and try a test chat, which would be pretty nuts if it can do. I mean, it's going to be able to do this. It's just probably a speed thing at this point. Which again, I don't know on speed whether we're constrained by its like usage quota, whether we're like in a queue with other users or whether it's doing a bunch of model generation stuff. Okay, there's there it is. Okay, it entered the key. Now refresh that chat page you were just on and say, hi, my name is Devin in the input. This is a little unfortunate because the bottom of the screen is actually cut off here and there's an input you can't see, which is why this isn't centered. There's like a bit of screen here you're not seeing. But hi, my name is Devin and send it. Okay. I want to see if we can trigger. So basically, this is what we're literally doing. We're trying to say, hi, my name is Devin. I think there's an API key here. So I actually want, so this is what it's supposed to be simulating. Like the part you're not seeing in that is basically this, right? You're seeing it cut off like right there. So I want to see if it can do this. This would be so sick. And I'm even gonna see if it can like read me the response back. That would be kind of cool. So we're gonna, man, we're really, the singularity is near. once we get agentic systems that run, like imagine this system with a generation model reasoning bump that can like inference like 10 times faster. So instead of being here for 20 minutes, we're here for 2 minutes, and it handles everything better. Like that's the world we're stepping into, guys. And like people have to, the efficient market hypothesis does not account for this. To put it simply, I do wonder if it's going to get stuck here. This is obviously not, I can't emphasize this enough. Like, I wonder if a Cognition employee gets to this and is like, yeah, this is not what it was meant to be for, but this is kind of cool to see a user use it like this. It's much more interesting for the code part, right? The whole point of this video was to get the project set up, which it passed with flying colors. I'm going to be a little bit more interject a little bit here. So just refresh the browser. The key will load and you can do the chat. Part of me even wonders, like, maybe this browser is obviously not being streamed live. Like, it's not like you're watching a literal live stream. You're watching like, you're watching like screenshots of it streamed back to you just so you can see glimpses into it. Because again, okay. Hi, my name is Devin. Perfect. Wait a sec. It needs to stream back, or a response from OpenAI. Once you have it, let me know what it says. It's gotta be cool. chatting with another AI in my app, right? Smiley face. I'm so dumb. So it looks like it refreshed. I don't know if it's streaming old browser screenshot or if it's updated or what, or maybe my message triggered something. I don't know. But this is really getting out into la la land here. I'm just messing around. It's 3:21 a.m. and I'm just goofing around on a good old AI tool as the universe intended. Okay. Actually, I want you to tell a joke to GPT for Turbo and let me know what it thinks of your joke after it generates a response. It may just be the case that like trying to get it to simulate user behavior on the actual app is like just a really stupid thing to be doing here. But again, we're just playing around. The whole point of the early phase of these AI tools and agentic systems is just like literally just use it as a toy because you want to play around with it. So like we're getting a bunch of like warnings basically from our PWA system, which I haven't ironed out. These aren't like inherent errors, but just warnings. Okay. Because they make up everything. So it did actually do that chat. It got the response. I wonder, so you can see like in the gray here, that's the thinking step it's undergoing right now. I can't even remember what I've mentioned so far. So I may just be like going in circles here, explaining what the agent is doing, but we just want to see, I just want to see if it can read me back this response. That's the last thing I want to do, and then I promise I'll end this. Investigate the successful chatbot response to understand the resolution. Oh, no, that's not right. whatever. Okay, I can see it, so I'm just gonna say, did it say? Oh, it was still streaming. I wonder actually, wait, or was that a new answer? I also wonder if it has access. See, I mentioned like you can scroll back in time. I wonder if it has access to those as memories. Okay, we got the response. Okay, that's all I wanted. Thank you, Devin. Let's thank Devin. Thanks, Devin. Everyone on Twitter, X. A side point. Totally cool with calling it X. Once Twitter.com doesn't work. Just love X. Elon, great job. Underrated thing you did. Actually may have saved public discourse, but I'm still going to call it Twitter until Twitter.com doesn't work. Anyways. And then I'll show you how to exit sessions. We type exit. Devin goes and takes a nap. Session ended. So that was Devin. I hope you got something out of this 26-minute demo. Again, I wanted to see me toy around with it in real time, uncut, just messing around, seeing what it could do. Again, it did what I wanted it to do, which was just get the project running very quickly, and then obviously we tried some sort of silly stuff at the end here. But super impressed by Devin. You guys know me. I'm sure I'm going to have a flurry more of videos that are tackling more practical use cases. I really want to try it writing code on a bunch of my own repos. So I will get back to you with that. But until then, this was Devin by Cognition. And thank you, Cognition, for making a wonderful, wonderful step towards an agentic world for us. I'm excited to see tools like this proliferate.